is ASMR Galaxy, and I hope you're all doing great. And this is going to be my first soft-spoken ASMR video. I have not done a soft-spoken ever, and I thought I could give it a try because a few of you have asked me to do one, and I thought the easiest thing for me to do was a book reading. I found this one, which is 100 Facts and the World Wonders. Let's have a look at the back. We can see the Great Wall of China, I think. Butterflies, a statue, and it says, "Start your journey of discovery and explore the wonders of the world." Exactly 100 facts will help you find out everything you want to know about amazing world wonders in every corner of the globe. Discover incredible spectacles that are ancient and modern, natural and man-made, from temples to lost cities and skyscrapers to waterfalls. Which butterfly flies 3,000 kilometers to its winter holiday home? Turn to page 24 to find out. This is published by the same publishing company that does the Space Facts, which is one of the books we are currently reading together. And I quite love this company. So here again we have beautiful pictures and 100 facts, world wonders. So let's read the contents of the book first. I quite like the soft spoken because I feel like it's making me go slower, and lately I've been really into slow ASMR. So let me know what you think actually. I'm really curious. So we're reading the contents. We have Wonder of Greece, Ancient World Wonders, The Amazing Americas, African Marvels, Temple Lands, Splendors of the East, Mighty Monuments, Lost Cities, Watery Wonders, Amazing Animals, The Moving Earth, Outrageous Rock, Hot Stuff, Fantastic Lakes, Wonderful Waterfalls, Waterworks, Shaping Our World, From A to B, Super Playgrounds, Reach for the Sky, Space Spectaculars, and Index. So we're starting off with the first page, which is Wonder of Greece. 1. A goddess once lived in a temple in Greece. The Parthenon was a temple built to honor the goddess Athena. It is still one of the best examples of ancient Greek architecture. The temple was built from beautiful white marble. It contained a vast sculpture of the goddess Athena, which would have amazed and terrified visitors. Here we have a modern day picture. We can see the temple that's a little bit broken, and it says, remains of the temple still stand today on the Acropolis, a hill overlooking the city of Athens. I'm really sorry about the headphone wire on me. I will get rid of it and be right back. So here we have an illustrated image of the temple, the statue of Athena sitting right outside of it, and smaller temples around. The temple complex at the Acropolis was dotted with statues and more smaller temples, as well as housing the main temple, the Parthenon. Inside the Parthenon was a sculpture of Athena over 12 meters tall, made of gold and ivory. Okay, then we have ancient world wonders. Number 2. The Romans built a massive stadium for deadly duels. The Colosseum was a giant stone stadium that held crowds of 50,000 people. Emperors and other rich Romans paid for games including gladiator battles and prisoner fights with wild beasts. The arena could be flooded for miniature naval battles between gladiator armies. And here we have a picture, illustrated picture of the Colosseum. And these here point to little things that you can see. Mass could hold a canvas roof to protect spectators from the heat of the sun. Then here, which seems like a sitting area far away from what is happening here, less wealthy people had to sit further away from the main arena. Here we have the arches. Arches supported the weight of the seating. This right here was the main arena, covered in sand. And we have a little note here that says the Colosseum was opened by the Emperor Titus in AD BO. It was so well designed that huge crowds could get in and out of the building in minutes. So let's read number 3. The Great Lighthouse at Alexandria, Egypt was more than 100 meters tall with a blazing fire at the top. It stood for 1,500 years until it was destroyed by an earthquake. The lighthouse was built during the reign of Pharaoh Ptolemy II, 283 to 246 BC, and became known as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. So, here we have an image of the Sphinx, which I believe we are going to be reading later, even though it's next to number 3, so don't let the image confuse you. Number 4. The ancient Greek temple of Artemis was hidden under a swamp. The archaeologist John Wood discovered it in the 19th century. The temple was built over the site of two earlier shrines at Ephesus, Asia Minor. It was dedicated to the goddess Artemis. Archaeologists are still finding the offerings of pilgrims across the Greek world. And this is a tiny illustration of the temple. And the Temple of Artemis was famous for its beautiful marble decoration. So let's go on to number 5. A giant man lion protects the pyramids. The Great Sphinx, a huge statue of half man, half lion that guards the pyramids of Giza, Egypt. It probably shows the dead king carved as man with the fearsome power of a lion. The Sphinx is so old that sand blowing in the wind has wrapped away details of the lion's body and parts of Khafre's face. As we all know, it does not have a nose, so we don't know what the nose looks like. But also, it wrapped away parts of its body. Not as many details as it did on the face, which stands higher. Number 6. The hanging gardens didn't really hang. Greeks were amazed by the city of Babylon in modern Iraq. They found a fantastic garden with terraces on different levels covered by spectacular plants. It was said that Babylonian king had it built to remind his queen, who was from a mountain region, of her childhood. So, to water the hanging garden, slaves worked in ships lifting water from the Euphrates River. So here we have an illustration of the gardens that were in terraces. And let's go to number 7. Alexandria's famous library was burned to cinders. Arts, maths, and sciences were developed more in Alexandria, Egypt than anywhere else in the Asian world. Most of the knowledge recorded in the library was lost when it burned to the ground in the year 48 BC. Here we have the next page, which is page 10, the amazing Americas. The Egyptians weren't the only ones to build pyramids. Some pyramid builders lived in Central and South America. Instead of using them as tombs, the Incas, the Maya, and the Aztecs used their pyramids as temples. Without modern technology, a pyramid shape is the safest one to use for buildings. So, here we have an illustration of what appears to be a village or a small city, and it says the mountain city of Machu Picchu was a forgotten marvel lost for 400 years. Let's go on to number 9. The Incas built a mountaintop city. Machu Picchu was a city high in the Andes Mountains with gardens, a temple, and a fortress. The city was built from large interlocking stones and watered by a spring at the top of the mountain. It was so well hidden, Spanish invaders never found it. In 1911, the city was rediscovered by American explorer Hiram Bingham. And this illustration relates to fact number 9. Let's move on to number 10. Not all monuments are built of stone. The Nazca people scratched huge patterns and pictures into the stony deserts of Peru, which are only properly visible from the air. Some of the patterns are simple squares and triangles, and some are line drawings of animals such as monkey. No one knows for certain what they were for. Here we have a picture of one of the pictures carved into a stone. This monkey image is just one of many animals that are depicted in the Nazca lines. Others include a hummingbird, spider, lizard, and even a killer whale, which most likely is the animals that people came across where they lived. So, let's go on to 11. Shan was an amazing city built by mud, bricks, adobe. The Chimu were farming people who became wealthy and created a small empire in Peru. The richest Chimu families built compounds in Chan. Each compound contained gardens, pyramids, and warehouses. They were decorated with beautiful carvings and patterns. That's really interesting. So let's go on to number 12. Teotihuacan was the greatest city in the New World. Before Europeans arrived in the Americas, this civilization rose and fell in Mexico. It left a huge city with 2 great pyramids dedicated to the sun and moon, and a vast temple for Quetzalcoatl, the feathered snake god. Here we have an image of what looks like the snake sculpture. A stone carving on the temple, on the pyramid temple of Quetzalcoatl, which appears to be very, very detailed as well and well preserved. Let's read number 13 before reading this, because I feel like it might be related to this one, so we should leave it last. Number 13. The Aztecs farmed on a lake. After the Aztecs founded their capital city on an island in a lake, their society began to grow. They made the island bigger by building flat platforms of reed and coating them with mud from the lake bottom. Then they grew crops and raised animals on the platforms. And here we have an illustration which I believe relates to this. Fact number 12, and it says the moon pyramid of Teotihuacan contains the remains of 6 smaller buildings. And let's read this. I don't believe it. Spanish explorers searched for a mystery city they called El Dorado, where everything was supposed to be made of gold. And we are turning on to page 12. The African Marvels. Number 14. Nigeria was the center of metalwork wonders. The Benin Empire was founded in the 11th century AD. It was famous for its brass sculptures. Benin City, the capital, survived until 1897 when the British destroyed it, taking thousands of statues. Here we have a beautiful image of a bronze, looks like bronze, could be different metal sculpture. It's brass. I apologize. The brass sculptures of Benin, such as this head, were produced from the 1500s onward. And it also looks very well worked metal, smooth, with great detail. 15. In Cameroon, the pyramids were made from bamboo. Many different Africans came to the Bamileke region to settle. Some built the pyramid roofs of their houses out of long bamboo stalks, then hoisted them into the air and placed the walls underneath. They were up to 10 meters tall. 16. Zimbabwe was a great stone city. Although the Middle Ages, a powerful African nation had its center in the Great Zimbabwe. Around a fortified stone compound with its impressive tower, the stone buildings covered the valley and a nearby hilltop. The Karaga people used the local gold to trade with partners as far as China. Here we have what it seems like to be an illustration of the stony city. Around this stone compound in Zimbabwe, the house of the great woman rose a great city of 20,000 Africans. Number 17. Mali's mosque looks like a giant sandcastle. Jen is home to an amazing mosque. It was built by hand from mud and mud bricks with wooden steps poking through the surface to help builders scramble up and down. Jen was once an important trading post and a center of Muslim thought. The mosque is repaired with fresh mud each spring in a huge festival involving the whole community. So it appears that people come together once a year with the purpose of rebuilding and maintaining this beautiful structure out of fresh mud each spring, not just for praying. The Great Mosque of Jans is 100 years old. It stands where great mosques have stood for 800 years. Number 18. St. George's Church in Ethiopia is made from one solid rock. In about AD, 1200, King Lalibela started a program of church building. The builders dug a deep trench around a massive rock, carved it into the shape of a cross, and then hollowed it out to make the church. And number 19. Dogon houses were shaped like people. The Dogon tribe of Mali built their houses to represent a person lying on the floor, with a fireplace for a head, stone rooms for arms, a workroom for a belly, and stables in the place of legs. This is a very interesting thing to know, especially when it comes to architecture. And let's take an African quiz. We have, it appears, quite a few questions. Number 1. The Benin Empire was famous for A. Wooden carvings or B. Brass sculptures. We already know this, which is B. Brass sculptures. Number 2. Pyramids in Cameroon were built with A. Bamboo, B. Grass. They were built with bamboo on the roof. Number 3. The Karaga people traded with A. Gold or B. Silver. They traded with gold, which is number A. The Great Mosque of Gens is 50 years old or 100 years old. It is 100 years old. So, let's go on to page 14 and read about sample lands. 20. King Kashyapa ruled from inside a lion. The Sri Lankan king's mountain fortress was known as Sigiriya, or Lion's Mouth, because it could only be reached by climbing through well-guarded gates carved in the shape of a lion's gaping jaw. His fortress was on a small plateau made by an ancient volcano 180 meters above the plain below. Here we have an illustration. We can see the hands, and it says the Lion's Mouth gate in Sigiriya has gone, but the two giant lions' paws remain. And we can also see the steps. Number 21. The city of Pagan had 4,000 Buddhist shrines. Pagan was once the capital of Burma, modern-day Myanmar, in Southeast Asia. In the city's richest era, from around 1016 to 12,080, thousands of Buddhist shrines and monuments were built. The city has since disappeared, but 2,000 shrines can still be seen. Number 22. Khajuraho's 85 temples were lost for 500 years. India's Chantala kings abandoned their Hindu temple city of Khajuraho for the safety of hill forts during a chaotic period of India's history. Later Muslim rulers knew nothing of the Hindu shrines So they survived unharmed until they were rediscovered in 1838 by a British Army officer. 23. Farmers built staircases on mountains. Water-loving rice plants can't grow on steep hills, but East Asian farmers found ways to use their mountain landscape. They made step terraces which could hold muddy pools for their crops. Whole mountains were transformed. Here we have a little pyramid with a little fact on it, which says I don't believe it. We still can't crack the code of writings on 4,000-year-old tablets from the Harappa Empire in India. Number 24. A temple in Java swallowed a hill. Buddhists built one huge shrine at Borobudur by shaping a small hill and casing it with stone blocks. They added some amazing sculpture. Since 1972, all 800,000 stones have been taken away, cleaned, and replaced. Number 25. Before we move on to that, I wanted us to have a look at this beautiful illustration where it says the Borobudur Hill Temple of Java is home to 2,000 carvings, 72 shrines, and 500 Buddhas. And lastly, 25. Angkor Wat was the biggest temple ever built. The Khmer Kingdom in Cambodia was believed to be ruled by god kings. Their capital at Angkor contained a huge complex of temple buildings with artificial lakes, moats, and log boundary walls covered in carvings. The biggest temple, Angkor Wat, was saved from the jungle by Buddhist monks after the Khmer Kingdom collapsed. And here we can see a beautiful actual picture taken by a camera, and it reads, "The moat around Angkor Wat measures 6 kilometers. It is as wide as 3 jumbo jets." So, as this was an experimental video, I'm gonna finish this at 25 facts. If you like it, and if you would like me to do more soft-spoken videos, please let me know. I quite enjoy how I'm a little bit slower, and it's making me feel extra sleepy. But I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in my next video. Sweet dreams.